Hello everyone, this is Logan589XP here, and today we are here once again to do our yearly Game Awards predictions video. We've been doing these since 2019 and we're not about to break the streak now, so let's just go ahead and get into it. So first things first, let's tackle essentially all the stuff that, at least from what I can tell, and I'm going to admit right now, I'm not as tuned into the general gaming space as I normally am at the moment. I've kind of been out of it the last few months, with the obvious exception of stuff like the September Direct and whatnot. But essentially, outside of Nintendo, I really have not been as tuned into the general gaming space as I normally would be, so if there's something I'm missing, sorry. But from what I can see right now, here is what is essentially confirmed, or essentially confirmed in all but name, to be here. First things first, we have a game called Exodus, which is apparently made by ex-BioWare staff. It's being published by Wizards of the Coast. It's apparently coming out next year. I don't have anything to really say about it, but that's apparently one of the games that's confirmed. Another game that is confirmed to be here, and I know this is definitely confirmed because I know I've seen the official pages talk about it, but the new Lego Batman game, Legacy of the Dark Knight, which is the first Lego Batman that we've had since 2014. Oh, no. There was the Lego DC Superheroes game in like 2018 or 2019. That's not strictly speaking a Batman game. It doesn't have Batman in the title, but whatever. The point is, it's the first Lego game, actually, period, we've had since the Skywalker saga. Forget Batman. Just we haven't had a Lego game. At least not that I can and when I say a Lego game, I mean like a Lego game from TT Games, the studio, behind Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones, Lego, all the classic Lego games we all know and love. That studio. I'm not talking about Builder's Journey or any of the other, not Lego Party. We're not talking about any of those other games that are made by other studios. We're talking specifically about the mainline Lego games made by TT Games. We have not had one since 2022 with the release of the Skywalker saga. At least not that I can think of. So, this is a big deal, and I believe, from what I remember, this Batman game is kind of supposed to be the Skywalker saga of Batman, not in the sense that it's essentially remaking the first 3 Batman Lego games, but in the sense that it's supposed to be like, it's going to cover basically all of the big movies, at least from the little I have seen. Now, I'm not going to act like I know everything about this game, because I really don't. But I know that it's going to have stuff from The Dark Knight. I know it's going to have stuff from Batman Returns. I know it's going to have stuff from the recent The Batman from Matt Reeves that came out a few years ago. So as far as I can tell... Actually, wait, hold on. I'm looking at the page right now, and it says it's an original story. Okay, so never mind then. Well, the point is, it's a new Lego game. A new mainline Lego game. And it's Batman, so it's obviously a big deal. So, yeah. And that, I believe, is 100% confirmed to actually be there. So, that is something. So, moving on. Next up is Phantom Blade Zero. That name sounds vaguely familiar, but just vaguely. Let's see, what is this? It's an upcoming... I have no idea what that is supposed to be. Developed by S-Game. I'm guessing, just going off of the image, my guess is that this is a Souls-like type thing, but I don't actually know. I'm purely going off of like basically nothing here. This is being made by a Chinese studio though, so there is that. But of course we had Black Myth Wukong like a year or 2 ago, and that blew up, and that was from a Chinese studio. Except that game was a Souls-like, from what I remember, whereas this game might not be. I'm just saying that based off the thumbnail that's on Wikipedia. So, yeah. But the point is, this game apparently, regardless of what type of game it actually is or not, this game is apparently confirmed, or essentially confirmed to be there. So that's another one right there. Resident Evil, that's a big one, of course. The Resident Evil 9, or as it's being called, Requiem. This, of course, is obviously a big title. It's a new Resident Evil. We, of course, got the Switch 2 version confirmed in the September Direct, I believe is when that was confirmed. And, of course, it's coming to everything else as well. February 27th, so it's coming out in just 3 months, so it's coming out soon. Oh, yeah, it was announced at the Summer Games Fest. I forgot about that it was announced there. Well, yeah, so of course it's here. Of course it's at the Game Awards if it was at Summer Games Fest, so... Yeah, so that's probably the biggest game on this list I'm looking at right now. Is definitely that one, Resident Evil, I would say. Although another game that's notable is Soros. Now, this game, for those of you that do not remember, this is the new game from Housemarque. Housemarque is the studio behind, um, I want to say Eternal. I don't know why. For some reason, I feel like that name is not right. It's Eternal, right? Or is it Returnal? Oh my god. Which one is it? Returnal. Yeah, Returnal. Not Eternal. I was like, nah, Eternal sounds too generic. It's gotta be, like, there's something I'm missing. Yeah. Returnal. This is the game, this is the Sony game that came out in 2021. It also got a PC version a few years ago, and it was pretty well acclaimed, so. Obviously, and this is a single-player game, so we haven't had a big new single-player game from Sony in a bit, so this will be a big deal. As far as I know, the Naughty Dog game is not going to be here, though. That's not listed as being here, or at least speculated to be here. I think it has a chance of being here, because I believe they had it now, I think that was that at Summer Games Fest as well, or was that... Or was that at the Game Awards last year? What's the game called? What's the new Naughty Dog game called? The one that's like a new IP. What's it called? I forget. It was revealed at, like... one of the Keighleys. It was revealed at one of the Keighleys. I'm pretty sure it was definitely not revealed in a regular, like, state of play or anything like that, or a PlayStation Showcase. Which, by the way, we have not had a PlayStation Showcase in like 2.5 years. Just saying. Let's see. When was it announced? Yes, it was at the Game Awards last year. So there's a very real chance it'll be here again. I mean, we haven't seen it since it was revealed last year, so it's definitely possible. Now, granted, if they're already going to have the Housemarque game here, then they're probably not going to have 2 Sony games in the same event, but I mean... I don't know. I mean, I think it's possible. I definitely think it's possible, for sure. I think it's definitely possible, but I wouldn't go in expecting that. But I think it's definitely possible, for sure. See, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. That's what the new Naughty Dog game is called. Yeah, so that was revealed last year at the Game Awards, but it was not at Summer Games Fest. But the new Housemarque game was at Summer Games Fest. So you can see, obviously, Jeff has been able to land a couple of big Sony titles in his last couple of events. So I wouldn't actually be that surprised if we had something new from PlayStation here in some form, but as of right now, I'm just gonna assume that that Housemarque game being shown off again is gonna be essentially the main thing we get. I mean, I know some people would love to see, like, God of War. I know people have been waiting on a new God of War, like, collection or remake or just something from God of War. Even though it's only been a few years since Ragnarok, but I know there were rumors, like, of there being, like, a remaster or remake collection, and then we got, like, just, like, the controller. We just got, like, the controller or whatever. People are like, really? Just a controller? But, I don't know. Anyways, so, let's get back to the list here. And then, the last one, apparently... actually, no, and then there's a game, that doesn't have a name yet. It's from a developer called Wildflower Interactive. Who is this guy? Oh, Bruce Straley is apparently the guy behind this company. And funny enough, he is a former Naughty Dog person. He worked on The Last of Us Part 1. He worked on Uncharted 4. He even worked on an old X-Men game from the 90s. Yeah, and he was an artist for all the Jak and Daxter games. He was a co-art director on Uncharted 1. Oh, he was a director of Uncharted 2. And he was a director on The Last of Us. Alongside Neil Druckmann, of course. Everyone knows Neil Druckmann. Okay, so this is a big name. This is a big name person from Naughty Dog. This is not just like an artist or whatever. This is not just like a oh yeah, he worked on the game, or he was even a writer. Like, I mean, I know that because, like, I know Amy, what's her name? Amy Henningway? Amy Henning? Amy Henning, that's her name, I believe. She was one of the writers on, like, she was one of the big name writers that eventually went off and left Naughty Dog and she's working on that new Marvel game, the Marvel 1943 game from Skydance. That has, like, or did it get canceled? Didn't like one of the Marvel games? No, I think, was it the Iron Man game that got canceled, or was it the Black Panther game that got canceled? One of the big single-player Marvel games I know got canceled like earlier this year or something. I don't remember which one it was. I want to say it's the Black Panther game, but I could be wrong. As far as I know, the Marvel 1943 game is still alive. As far as I know, that game has not been killed off yet. But anyways, point is, so similar to Amy, who went off and decided to do her own thing at another studio, Bruce apparently is in the same boat, and apparently he opened up his new company in 2021, and they're apparently going to reveal that game at the Game Awards. So, okay, so that's actually kind of neat. I mean, obviously, a big, a game from a former Naughty Dog employee obviously is gonna raise people's eyebrows for sure. Especially if we're not going to get to see the actual new Naughty Dog game. Although, granted, when they revealed I've already forgotten the name. What's the name again? The new Naughty Dog game. I've already forgotten. Intergalactic. When that game was revealed, people were kind of like so on it. I would feel like overall. Some people were excited, some people didn't really care. I don't know. Obviously, the game is not out yet. We've only seen it like one time, but it's not a big franchise. Obviously, it's a new IP. And they haven't had a new IP, admittedly, in a long time, but I don't know. But at the same time, it's Naughty Dog. I know people have their criticisms of Naughty Dog. Obviously, when The Last of Us Part 2 came out, it was the last Jedi of gaming. It was super divisive. People were very, very heated about it. But at the end of the day, Naughty Dog games have a reputation, which is largely pretty good. So people are at the very least going to give the new game a shot. But hey, if it crashes and burns, then we'll see. But anyways. And then the last game that is apparently confirmed, and this one, again, I know for a fact, is definitely confirmed, because I saw they posted about it, is we're going to see the new Tomb Raider. Now, I am a fan. I really like the trilogy, the most recent trilogy, the Survivor trilogy, I believe is what it's called, which is Tomb Raider 2013 from 2013, and then Rise, and then Shadow. Now, Crystal Dynamics did not make Shadow. That was made by Eidos Montreal because they were too busy working on the to-be-doomed Avengers game. It ended up crashing and burning eventually, but that's a whole other conversation. But they did work on the first two, and I believe they supervised the third one. The third one was my least favorite, but I do like all three of them. I would probably say, last I remember, people considered Rise to be the best one of the trilogy, and I would say, I agree with that. I think I would say, in order, from worst to best, from best to worst, I would say Rise is at the top, then 2013, then Shadow, but I like all three of them. They're all pretty good, solid games. If you haven't played them, I think they're worth playing. At least one of them. You should play at least one of them. Rise, again, is the best one, but it's also the middle one in the trilogy. The first one would be a solid one to play too. I mean, not that the story really matters. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I just play it for the gameplay. Any of them would be fine. But I'd say Rise or 2013 would probably be the two one of those two would be the ones I'd say it should be the first one you play. But anyways, I'm getting off track here. So, the new Tomb Raider. Now, we have not had a new Tomb Raider since Shadow in 2018. So it has been a long time, and of course, now the Tomb Raider series is under the aegis of... Does Embracer still own them, or did they get sold off again? Do they still own it? Is it still Embracer? I'm looking it up, because obviously I know years ago, in 2021, 2022, Square Enix sold Eidos Montreal and Crystal Dynamics, and basically most of their Western studios they sold off to what was at the time Embracer Group. But I believe something else happened with Embracer Group since then. Didn't they also split or reorganize or something? Or am I just forgetting something? I don't know. I'm not entirely certain about that. Wait, hold on. Yeah. I see. In April 2024, Embracer Group announced they would split into 3 separately traded companies. Yeah, one of them was going to be Fellowship Entertainment. This is essentially going to be the one that owns all the rights to all of Tolkien's stuff. Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, all that. Which, by the way, they bought at one point. They now own, the rights or whatever to a bunch of that stuff. At least in, the entertainment sector. I don't think they own the book rights. I think that's still owned by the Tolkien estate, but I could be wrong about that. I'm not I'm not a Lord of the Rings guy. I'm not privy to that stuff too much, but I believe that they own like the game rights and like the general media rights that they then get to license out to other companies, but they don't own the books. They don't own the literary rights. I think that's still owned by the Tolkien estate, but again, I could be wrong. Point is, that's one of the companies that was supposed to come from that like three-way split. And then another one was going to be the one that contained oh, and actually no, Fellowship Entertainment is going to be the one that also comes with like Metro, Dead Island, Killing Floor, Darksiders, and Tomb Raider among others. You know, THQ Nordic, Dark Horse, a variety of other stuff, and then apparently there was going to be some other ones. I don't know. Again, I'm literally just looking into this as I speak, which is probably not great for the video's length. But hey, what are you gonna do? This is a discussion video from me. This video is going to be 50 minutes long, even though it has no right to be so. Point is, going back to the original point, that being Tomb Raider, regardless of how, as of right now, it is still owned by either Embracer Group or one of its direct descendants or whatever. So this will not be under Square Enix. So that will be kind of interesting. But another thing that we know is that this game, from the little we have seen, because there is a little teaser trailer, I think that it's going to have, from what we've seen from the little teaser image that they've put up, it looks like the classic design is coming back. Now, I don't have any issues with the Survivor version of Lara. I think she's fine. Both appearance and personality-wise, I think she's fine. However, there's no denying that the classic 90s version is Lara Croft to most people. And they are apparently bringing that back because they've put out like newer renders of the characters in the last few years that have, like, Fortnite. When Lara got added to Fortnite, it was the OG version, or it was at least based on the OG version at the very least. And from the little we've seen in that little outline, that little teaser outline for the Game Awards, it very much looks like, yeah, the OG classic Lara design is what they're going back to. Probably a good idea. Also makes the Survivor trilogy stand out more by having their own independent version of Lara that looks different. So it just makes the trilogy that they already did more unique by like not reusing that design again. But point is, we're gonna see the new Tomb Raider, or at least hear something about it. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna have a trailer and we're gonna get like a 2026 or whatever release or whatever for it. But that actually I am looking forward to, as someone that again was a fan of the last three games. But we'll see. And that's basically it for at least all the stuff that I can see that is essentially confirmed or is confirmed. So, beyond that, now again, I know I've probably said this 5 times at this point, I'm not really privy to like gaming news as much as I normally am at the moment. So if there is some rumor or leak that has happened that I haven't seen, apologies. But in terms of, let's just go over all the notable big stuff, and I'll just kind of knock them down, at least the ones I can think of right now. So, first things first, let's talk about Square. Let's talk about any of the big Square games, that being Dragon Quest XII, Kingdom Hearts 4, or FF7 Part 3. Let's go ahead and just get those ones out of the way. Now, Dragon Quest XII will not be here, because Dragon Quest is a Japanese thing. I mean, obviously it exists in the West, but famously, Japan and Dragon Quest, are name a more iconic duo than Japan and Dragon Quest. They're not gonna show Dragon Quest for the first time since it was revealed 4 years ago at the Game Awards, because that's a Western event, so they're not gonna have it here. Done. Also, they have that new remake of Dragon Quest 7, I want to say. 7, the one that was on the PS1. They have that remake of that coming out soon, so they're not going to want to show it off for that reason as well. Next up, Kingdom Hearts 4. Obviously, everyone really wants to see Kingdom Hearts 4. It was announced in 2022. I believe we got like a couple of screenshots like either earlier this year or last year. But for the most part, we really haven't seen much on it since it was revealed. Obviously, Kingdom Hearts is a worldwide franchise, very much so. They could totally show it here. don't think they're going to do it. But then the question is, okay, if it's not here, when do they show it? Funny enough, I don't think they're going to show Kingdom Hearts 4 at, like, a bespoke, like, normal event. I don't know what it is. And again, I'm not a Kingdom Hearts guy, but from what I gather, it's one of those franchises where they kind of do their own thing and they kind of announce stuff whenever the heck they feel like it, and they kind of do their own events and stuff sometimes. So my guess is they're just going to announce it out of nowhere, and it'll just be a thing. It's not going to be a part of a State of Play. It's not going to be a part of the Game Awards. It's not going to be a part of Summer Games Fest or anything like that. It's just going to be its own thing, is kind of how I look at it. But that is, again, coming from the outside looking in. I am just going off of the very little I see when it comes to how Kingdom Hearts stuff operates, and as far as how Square kind of markets it and whatever. But point is that it's not going to be here. That's the main point I'm trying to get across. And then last but not least, the one I personally would want to see the most, of course, even though I still haven't played Rebirth, even though it's been sitting on my shelf since it came out. I know I'm really bad when it comes to playing games that I should have played a long time ago, but we're not going to rehash that. Point is, ignoring the fact that I still haven't played Rebirth, obviously FF7 Part 3 would probably be the most anticipated thing from at least Square that I would personally care about. I mean, obviously, if we got either of those other two things, that'd be great. If we got to see Dragon Quest 12, that'd be great. If we got to see Kingdom Hearts 4, that'd be great. If we got to see a Chrono Trigger remake or anything remotely big from Square Enix, great. Whatever it ends up being. But FF7 Part 3 is the one that I think has a chance of being here. I don't think it's gonna be here just yet. However, I do think that the most logical release date for FF7 Part 3 is, of course, 2027, so they can line up with the 30th anniversary. And also because at that point it will have been like 3.5 years since the last game and all that stuff. So I think that but the very fact that I'm saying that 2027 makes the most sense for a release for that game also is exactly why they wouldn't show it here, because it would be at least a little too soon. Now, granted, we're talking the end of 2025. But they revealed, okay, Rebirth. We're not going to count the first game, because the first game obviously was a special case because it was revealed in 2015, then they got rebooted like halfway through with a new developer, then it finally came out. Like, that's a whole other can of worms. But if we're talking about Rebirth, Rebirth was announced in 2022 in that big FF7 anniversary event. And then we didn't see it again after that point until a year later at Summer Games Fest, which is the reason why I say there's a chance it might be here, because they've had it at Summer Games Fest before. So clearly Jeff has gotten to play with Final Fantasy a little bit. Plus I believe they had FF16 stuff at one of the events at one point. So yeah. Point is, FF7 Part 3, I think there's a possibility it's here. I think there's a chance it's here. I don't think it's gonna be here. I think they're gonna wait until, like, not like, obviously E3 is dead, unfortunately, but like, you know, June 2026. That's when they'll announce it at like a State of Play or at their own event or whatever. But I think it's just a little too soon. I think next year for sure. We'll get it announced next year, but I think this year is just a smidge too early. I think it's possible, but I still think it's on the lower end of things. So that's all the big Square games. Beyond that, well, what about what I want to see, or at least the stuff I'm out of the loop. I apologize. I'm out of the loop to an extent here, so I'm not privy to every little thing. But if we're gonna just talk about the stuff that I personally would want to see, so I guess let's just get into that. Well, let's get into the what do I want to see? You know, the hopes, right? Well, let's talk about the hopes. Like, what do I want to see in this? What do I hope we're gonna see? Well, obviously, again, any of that Square Enix stuff we just talked about, obviously that would be cool, but I don't think we're gonna get that. But in terms of what I actually would like to see, of course, if we get to see more Persona 4, I almost said Rewind. It should have been called Rewind, Atlus. It should have been called that. But that's water under the bridge at this point. Revival. Of course, getting to see more of that would be great. I don't think it's going to happen. We have had Atlus stuff at the Keeleys before. I believe they had Metaphor at Summer Games Fest once. They had, of course, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax at the Game Awards years ago. So they've had Atlus, and of course, Persona 5 Strikers was famously supposed to be revealed at the Game Awards, and then it got leaked like a few days before, or like a week before, or whatever, and totally spoiled the whole thing. But point is, it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. I'm still gonna say no, and by extension, that also goes for Persona 6. That's not gonna be there. I would love Persona 6 as much as everyone else. No, I think that's not gonna happen there either. Maybe something smaller. Maybe we can get like a port announcement or a remaster announcement, because they've been doing a couple of those in recent years. Like, we could totally get that. I mean, we got the Raido remaster earlier this year, so maybe they have another remaster in the pipeline. I could see them announcing a remaster of something. I'm not sure of what game specifically, but like I could see like another SMT remaster, like something like that. Maybe they could announce, the remaster of Raido 2. Because only the first game got a remaster. I believe the second game has not been remastered yet. They could do Digital Devil Saga. That was another one people want to see, is like Digital Devil Saga. Those get remasters or something. Or whatever. But point is, anything Atlus of any kind would be great. But again, I'm not expecting that to be there, but there is a possibility. And then I guess last but not least, let's of course get this out of the way, even though it is so super duper ooper not going to be here. Let's just go ahead and get it out. Let's just get this out of the way. I really, really want Nintendo to have something at the Game Awards this year. They have not had anything at the Game Awards since 2022. And they have not had anything big at the Game Awards since 2020. Since Sephiroth. That's the last time they had something big at the Game Awards. And the last time they had anything at the Game Awards at all was 2022, which I believe, if I remember correctly, was Engage DLC, and then I believe that Bayonetta spin-off, or art book looking game. I think that one was also a Game Awards announcement. But we haven't had anything since then. There was nothing in 2023 or 2024, but that was understandable because, of course, we were very much in, the Switch. Everything big was being saved for the Switch 2 at that point. Of course, that's not a problem anymore. So, what do I want to see? Again, what do I hope for? It's not going to be here, but again, what would I hope to be here? That has at least a smidgen of a chance. Mario Kart DLC. It's not going to be here. It's probably less than a 5% chance. But it's not 0. I wouldn't give it a 0. I would just say it's very, very low. Lower than probably anything I've talked about so far. But we have not had Mario Kart DLC announced in this entire time frame, which is still utterly insane to me, because this was the big launch game, and yet for some reason they just don't talk about it anymore. Even though it's Mario Kart, it is going to get DLC. But for some reason they just refuse to talk about it. September Direct came and went, nothing. We still don't even have DK and Pauline outfits. We're still waiting on that to get added, because that's clearly coming. Why else would there be only one skin for each of them? We thought that what they were going to do is that we were going to have DK come out, and then they would have put out the update alongside it as a promotional tie-in or something, and that didn't happen, and it still hasn't happened. Now, they are putting out quality of life updates every once in a while. We had that quality of life update a few months ago in September that added in some much needed features. And just recently, a few days ago, they put out another big quality of life update that added some much needed things to the online, among other things. So the game is still obviously being worked on. They're still updating it. But the fact that they're being so secretive about DLC is really annoying. Because, the fact that DK and Pokemon have gotten DLC announced and released before Mario Kart has gotten anything announced is crazy. The fact that Kirby Air Riders released before Mario Kart got anything announced is crazy. They're being so dang secretive about that game's DLC, and I don't understand why. Like, why not at least tell us it's coming? Like, okay, if in September they weren't ready to show it, fine. But at least tell us it's coming. Just say, hey, we're going to be putting out a new quality of life update out today or whatever, and also DLC is coming eventually. They could have said that, and they didn't even do that. Again, it's obviously coming. It's Mario Kart. It's going to happen. They're just being really secretive for no good reason. And if it's not here, we're waiting until February to get it announced, let alone released. Which is kind of crazy. But point is, of all the stuff that has a chance of being here, no matter how small and insignificant, I'd say Mario Kart DLC would be the one that at least I would want to see the most. Although another thing I think would be really cool to see that I actually don't think is that crazy. Honestly, there's probably a higher chance of this happening than even Mario Kart is. Especially because Mario Kart is obviously Mario Kart, so that's something they would want to do on their own times. But one that I could see Nintendo being like, yeah, Jeff, you can have this one, would be like Monolith Soft. Because for those of you that remember, Monolith Soft has been working on a new IP for years, and we haven't heard jack about it in this entire time. I remember in like 2018, they had like concept art of it on their website, and they just haven't announced it in all this time frame. Now, clearly the reason for that is because it's going to be on the Switch 2. So they couldn't announce it beforehand because the Switch 2 wasn't announced yet, but the Switch 2 is here. Right? The Switch 2 is here. We all have one. Well, I have one at least. The point is, the Switch 2 is here. So there's nothing stopping them from announcing it. There's nothing stopping them. But again, maybe Nintendo wants to save that as the one more thing for the February Direct or something. I don't know. But I'm really interested in not only that new IP, but also the fact that it's a Monolith Soft game. And Monolith Soft are basically the gold standard when it comes to pushing the boundaries on Nintendo hardware, right? The Xenoblade games, while not flawless performance and image quality wise, are probably some of the best showcases of the Switch hardware out there. I mean, look at Xenoblade 1. The fact that that game runs on the Wii is pretty impressive, I would say. Never mind any of the games that come after. So I'm going to be very, very interested to see the new Monolith Soft game, simply because it will be a Switch 2 showcase game for sure. I'm very curious to see how they push the hardware. And especially if it's a new IP and not like a Xenoblade or whatever, then I think Nintendo might be willing to let Jeff have that one. Let him be the one to reveal it. I don't think it's going to happen still. But I think, ironically, there might be a higher chance of that happening than because anything that's like a big name franchise, even remotely, they're going to want to have in their own event. But if it's something that's like off to the side, even like the new IP from Monolith, I could see that being a possibility. It's not going to be there. I want to make that crystal clear. It is not going to be there. But I think it's like, I'm going to say like, if Mario Kart DLC is like 5%, then like the new Monolith Soft game, the new IP medieval fantasy thing that they've been essentially teasing without really teasing for like 7 years, I think that that's maybe like a 10 to 20%, like 15%, whatever. It's not very high, obviously, but like I think that it's not zero. It's not zero. I can see it happening. Unlikely, but I can see it. And I mean, if you're going to ask me, what about the cream of the crop? The game I would want to see the most? Well, of course, I'd want to see Smash. But of course, we're not going to get Smash for like multiple reasons. Reason number 1, Air Riders just came out. They are not ready to announce the new Smash, even if they've already been working on it for like a year, which that's a whole other conversation. The whole situation of Smash 6, that is literally an entire video that I would like to make at some point. And when I say video, I mean video, not a discussion video. But we'll see. This is me we're talking about. But anyways, point is, Air Riders just came out. Problem number 1. Problem number 2, it's Smash. They're not gonna announce it at the Game Awards. Now, yes, we've had Smash at the Game Awards before, right? We had Joker and Sephiroth in the past. So clearly, if Nintendo was willing to let Jeff have that, would it really be that insane to let him be able to reveal Smash? Again, I mean, I just talked about how, like, they're not going to let Jeff reveal one of their, like, big IPs. And Smash is, like, a top 3 Nintendo IP. It's one of the biggest ones out there. So, of course, they're going to want to save it for a one last thing for a Direct at some point. But would it be completely insane? Honest? The main reason why I'm giving this any credence whatsoever is solely because of the fact that we've had Smash before. Because I remember for years people were saying, we're going to see Metroid, we're going to see Metroid, we're going to see Prime 4 in like 2020, 2021, 2022, whatever. Like for years people were saying, oh, maybe we'll get Metroid, because it just felt like the kind of game that would be there. It never happened. They never, ever showed Prime 4 at the Game Awards, not even once. Or any other Metroid stuff for that matter. Like, Dread was never at the Game Awards or anything. Now, granted, Dread was announced in June, and then it came out in October, but still. But the point is, that series has no history with the Game Awards, whereas Smash does. And not just once, but twice. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible. But as much as I would love to see it, man, as much as I would love to see it, I don't care how vague the trailer is. It could literally just be the logo, and that's literally it. I would take that. Just give me something. Give me a Switch 2 edition or a 4K patch. Something. Not that it needs an upgrade, it's fine as is, but I just really want one. But again, that's a whole other video for another time, maybe, if I ever am not lazy enough to actually make it. Or something. Maybe a short. I don't know. But anyways. Point being. That's probably the peak of the mountain for me. Would be, obviously, Smash 6. Anything. Logo. CGI trailer. Literally anything. But it's not happening because Air Riders just came out and Smash is too big to be at the Game Awards for at least the game reveal. They can have character reveals, and that's obviously still a really big deal, but I cannot see Nintendo handing the biggest reveal in like 5+ years, like the biggest reveal they will have done since Ultimate, arguably. I know that I'm very much biased in saying that. And I am. I'm totally biased in saying that. But I also don't think I'm 100% wrong. Because Smash, whether you're the biggest fan of it or not, it is undeniably Nintendo's biggest hype generator. And I don't think they have announced anything since Ultimate in 2018 that has garnered quite the same level of hype. There's been some big stuff, don't get me wrong. When Dread came out, that was pretty cool. When that got announced. Of course, when Metroid Prime 4 got re-revealed, that was cool. Obviously, all the different Smash reveals, there were some pretty good, cool ones in there. Obviously, Steve, Sephiroth, Joker, etc. were all pretty cool. But in terms of, like, new game announcements, we haven't had them announce a new game in a long time that has gotten, like, that kind of hype generating. But anyways, I'm dragging this out way too long for something that is so not happening. And not now. Like, okay, the Game Awards next year? That's not zero. But this year, it's so zero. It's so zero. Simply because of Air Riders. Now, if Air Riders didn't exist, this would be a different story. But it does exist. Which means, by definition, at least assuming that the timetables are what we think they are, that means that they're only just now starting work on it. Or at least, they're only now going into full-scale production. Like, maybe they've already been... I'm sure they've been doing pre-production stuff before that point, but they're probably only just now, like, really, truly going into full-scale production on it, because that's normally how, at least, Sakurai's projects operate, under the assumption that he's returning. Now, I'm in the camp that thinks he is going to return. I don't think he's done just yet. I think if he was done definitively, he would have made that very clear by now. He has not. He's very much left the door open. He has said multiple times, hey, if they want me to come back, I will. He even said on his own channel, in like, I want to say the Ultimate video he did, when he covered Ultimate on his channel, I believe he even said, like, he cannot see the franchise going on without him. I can't either. I know that day will come eventually. But my point is, I think he's coming back for at least one more go at Smash. At least one more. Now, beyond that point, I find that hard to believe. But I think he's not done yet. I think he has very much left the door open, and I think that is very much the case. For all we know, that could have been the whole deal with Air Riders to begin with. Like, hey, you can do Air Riders, but we also want Smash 6 afterwards or something. That's been a speculation thing for a while. But again, that's a whole other conversation for another video at some point. Another discussion at some point. Point is, pie in the sky, dream, like again, like just like dream reveal, of course, Smash 6, with a fancy CG teaser and everything, with the title drop. And since there is obviously, in the fact that it's not completely set in stone, go ahead and throw in the, like, you know how with Air Riders they had the little Sakurai bomb at the end? Include that, even though you really don't need to do that for Smash, because it's what people normally would expect. But I know that there are a decent amount of people that do still kind of see Ultimate as like, that was his last game. So if you just say, oh, no, he's back, just make that crystal clear by just doing literally just recycle the same animation, it would be totally fine. Like, do the same thing where it's, you know, director, and then the logo shows up, and then boom, there's his name. Just literally just recycle that from the Air Riders reveal, and that'd be fine. But anyways, yeah, pie in the sky reveal would definitely be Smash, but it's not happening now, certainly. And even in a year or two, I think it'd be pretty unlikely. That game is just way too big to not just be in the direct. But yeah, so alrighty then, we're at like the 41-minute mark. I'm honestly surprised we've made it this long, but yeah. Then again, this is me we're talking about. So let's go ahead and round things out here by quickly going over the various nominees. Now, of course, the last few years, I want to say ever since like 2020 or 2021, there's been some controversy like every year. Now, let's go ahead and just get this one out of the way. Let's talk about the Game of the Year nominees, the one that most people care about. So, for Game of the Year, we have Expedition 33. That was obviously a big hit earlier this year, so that totally makes sense to be there. We have Death Stranding 2, no duh. And I'm not just saying that because it's a Kojima game, and I know people like to meme. I know years ago people liked to meme on the whole, oh, watch, Death Stranding is totally going to win in 2019 because it's Kojima, and Jeff Keighley and Kojima are like best bros or whatever. And it didn't. It didn't win in 2019. Or at least I don't think it did. Who won in 2019? Was it Hades? What game won in 2019? I actually genuinely do not remember. But anyways, yeah, Death Stranding 2, no shocker. Hades 2, the new one, that's on here, not surprising. Hollow Knight Silk Song, of course, it's Silk Song. Of course it's nominated for Game of the Year. No freaking duh. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Now, this game, I'm a little surprised is on here. I know it has a fan base, for sure. I know I've heard people talk about it, but Game of the Year? That one's definitely the odd one to me, but that's just me. And then last but not least, actually what might be the weirdest one outside of Kingdom Come, Donkey Kong Bonanza is nominated. I find that very strange. Now, I have not played the game yet. I'm going to play it, hopefully sometime soon, but I do not have it yet. I do not have it yet because I couldn't get it at launch, because I had bankrupted myself trying to get a Switch 2. Or getting a Switch 2, rather. I didn't have the money, because it came out, like, a month after the Switch 2 came out. I didn't have the money, and also, like, it wasn't the most important thing in the world. Like, obviously, I'm gonna play it. I mean, it's essentially the 3D Mario stand-in until we get 3D Mario, so of course I'm gonna want to play it. And it's the Odyssey team. Obviously, it's a good game. It's gotten good reviews. Everyone likes it. Yeah, the DLC that came out was a little controversial, but the game itself has been reviewed well. So, of course, I'm gonna play it. But I haven't yet. But even still, It feels weird for it to be nominated. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it being nominated, but it just feels weird. Now, granted, there's not any other Nintendo game I think that would make sense to put on there, right? Mario Kart World is too controversial to be nominated for Game of the Year. It's also Mario Kart. Mario Kart's obviously a big deal. Like, even if this game was like, even if everyone loved Mario Kart World, it wouldn't be nominated because it's Mario Kart. Like, Mario Kart just doesn't make sense for Game of the Year. You can nominate it for Best Racing Game or Best Family Game or whatever, and it is nominated for other categories. Although, not one category in specific, we'll get to that in a sec. But, yeah, I mean, Mario Kart World, even if it wasn't controversial, which it is, unfortunately, that's a whole other can of worms. I still find that very strange, it still kind of breaks my brain how controversial that game is, because it's Mario Kart, and Mario Kart is supposed to be one of, like, for lack of a better term, the safe IPs that doesn't get controversy, really. But again, that's a whole other can of worms for another day. But Bonanza, I mean, I guess in a sense, it's the best fit, because again, Mario Kart is Mario Kart. It's also controversial, so there's that. Obviously, Pokemon would never get nominated for obvious reasons. It's also never been nominated in the past. I don't think Pokemon's been nominated for anything, actually, not even other awards. I can't think of a time where Pokemon's been nominated even for, like, music or family game or even just something like that. I don't think it's been nominated for anything ever. Not that I can think of anyway. Actually, Let's Go might have been nominated for, like, Best Family Game or something, like, at one in, like, 2018. Whatever. Point is, it's not going to be ZA. And that's not just because of modern Pokemon having a bad rap. It's not just that. It's just that, like, Pokemon's never been nominated before. So why would it start now? Prime 4 just came out, so it's too late. Honestly, if Prime 4 had come out in October, it would probably be nominated. Whether you agree with that nomination or not is a whole other story. I know that Prime 4 has its critics. But if any game was going to be nominated for Game of the Year from Nintendo this year, I think Prime 4 would have been it. But it came out too little too late, so it's not on here. And of course, Air Riders was well received, of course, but it's a niche game, and again, it's a racing game. So, I guess Bonanza, if you can't have Prime, and of course, Hyrule Warriors would never be nominated. So I guess that really does just leave Bonanza. Bonanza is the least controversial of all the games that have come out this year, that has been received overwhelmingly well and is popular, and also didn't come out last week. So I don't know. It feels weird. I mean, it's not gonna win, right? Like, come on. Like, it's not winning. This could be 3D Mario and it wouldn't win, right? This could be Odyssey 2. This could be the next 3D Mario. This could be any of that, and it still wouldn't win, because it's going up against Silk Song, Death Stranding, Hades 2, and Expedition 33. It's not gonna win. I'm honestly not even sure why it's nominated, honestly. Like, I get nominating it for other categories, but Game of the Year, even for me, the guy running a Nintendo YouTube channel, even for me, who admittedly has not played the game yet, I'm kind of like, really? We're nominating DK? I mean, I'll take it. But, like, it feels weird. It just feels weird. It feels weird, you know? It feels weird that it's nominated to me. But, yeah, anyways, so who I think is going to win of those 6? I'm going to say either Expedition 33 or Silk Song. It's not going to be Hades. Hades should definitely be nominated. I think it being nominated makes perfect sense, but it's definitely not going to win. Bonanza, again, I just went on a whole spiel. I think it's really weird that it's nominated, but again, it's definitely not winning. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is not big enough to win, so I'm going to say no on that one as well. Death Stranding, I'm going to say that one's not going to win either. But I think it's definitely more likely than some of the others. I don't know. Expedition 33 or Silk Song. Those are the two. Either of those two. I can't say definitively right now which one will win. I think both of them have a pretty solid chance. I'm going to say right now, simply because of name recognition, Silk Song will win. Because Silk Song is more well-known because of all the memes and stuff about how long it took to come out. So it might win in that respect. But of course, the game of the year is not, strictly speaking, a popularity contest, even though a lot of people kind of treat it like that. But, 'cause I mean, what won last year? Was it Balatro that won last year? Like, I did not realize that game was as big as it was. I had heard of it before. Vaguely, but... Anyway, again, we're going on nearly 50 minutes here, and we really should be wrapping this up. So, oh man, this video is spiraling out of control. See, I'm already flubbing my lines here. I probably have already done it a couple of times at this point, but anyway. Okay, best game direction. So, you want to know one game that is very surprising? Probably the #1 omission that's honestly very baffling. I don't think it would have won, but it's very weird that it's not nominated. Ghosts of Yote, which is basically Sony's big single-player game this year. Of course, the sequel to the critically acclaimed Ghosts of Tsushima, which, as far as I know, this game has also been well-received, as far as I can tell, although I haven't looked into it that much. I also didn't play the first one, so I obviously have not played this one either. But it's nominated for, like, a bunch of the other categories, but not Game of the Year. Like, how the hell is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2... apologies if I'm picking on Kingdom Come too much, but I'm sorry, that game I feel like is unambiguously, like, the least popular of the ones in that list, at least in my opinion. But I really don't have anything against the game, I promise. It's just, it feels the most like okay, Bonanza I think is weird to include, but I can at least understand it in the sense that, well, this is the best Nintendo game we can really put in here, so sure, I get that. But, like, Kingdom Come is just like, don't get me wrong, I know it's popular. I know it is. I remember. But Game of the Year popular? I don't know. But Ghosts of Yote, like, how is that not nominated? Well, anyway, it's nominated for Best Game Direction, Best Narrative, Best Art Direction, Best Score and Music, Best Audio Design, Best Performance, and probably a couple other categories too. It's nominated for, like, a bunch of them, but not Game of the Year. That's so strange. Now, because it's nominated for so many other categories, it's gonna win at least one, if not 2 or 3 awards. So it's not gonna come away with nothing, but, like, the one that most people care about, the one that, like, 99% of people care about is Game of the Year. So the fact that it's not nominated for that is very baffling to me, that it's not. For some reason. I mean, I know... I don't know, it feels weird. Like, again, this is coming from a guy that runs a de facto Nintendo channel. Ghosts of Yote deserves a nomination more than Bonanza. And that's coming from someone that has not played Bonanza yet, but also has not played Yote. But it just feels weird, right? It just feels weird. Like, how is Bonanza nominated over Ghosts of Yote? That doesn't make any sense to me. Even for me, that doesn't make any sense, but whatever. So let's go ahead. Oh yeah, we haven't talked about this yet. So let's get to probably the second biggest controversy. Best Score and Music. We have Expedition 33. We have Death Stranding 2. We have Ghosts of Yote. We have Hades 2. We have Hollow Knight Silksong. All those make sense. But there is one game noticeably missing. A game that people months ago was hoping it would be nominated for. And it's probably the one thing in the game everyone can be on board with. Because regardless of how you feel about the game overall, the one thing everyone agrees on is the soundtrack. Mario Kart World is not nominated for Best Score and Music. Now, I am not surprised it's not nominated. Not because it's Mario Kart, but because the reason why Mario Kart World's soundtrack is so lauded is because it has so many good remixes of old music, right? Like, obviously all the new tracks get music and stuff, but a lot of the music in that game, like 80-90% of the music in that game, is music from other Mario Kart games and also the mainline series. So should that really qualify for the 2025? Just because they have a banger remix of Cool Cool Mountain, or they have a really good remix of Dire Dire Docks, or whatever, that automatically qualifies it for 2025 Game Awards? I don't know. Like, I know it's in a 2025 game, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? Like, this is the kind of thing that people talk about when they talk about, should stuff like should FF7 Remake, Rebirth, should games like that be nominated, because they're not really new, but they're also basically new and all but like it's a whole complicated gray zone, right? I kind of feel like Mario Kart, I can see a case being made for why it should count, but its biggest claim to fame is remixes of old tracks, not the new music. I mean, the new music's good. It's Mario Kart. The Mario Kart team are pretty good at that at this point. Mario Kart 8, even the Booster Course Pass had an absolutely banger soundtrack. But the big claim to fame is all the remixes of old music. So even I, again, coming from the guy running a Nintendo channel, even I'm kind of like, honestly, well, obviously it would be cool if it was nominated, and I would, of course, want it to win if it was nominated, obviously. I think it's totally reasonable that it's not there. Because again, its biggest claim to fame is old music remixes, not the new music necessarily. I like the new music. There are even some I think that are pretty good. Like, I like the Boo level, the one that has like where you're racing on the film strip. That music is pretty good, for example. But the big claim to fame is all the old remixes from the older games. And I feel like that's not enough to qualify the game as a whole. But that's just me. Great soundtrack, no disputing there. Everyone unanimously agrees the Mario Kart World soundtrack, regardless of how you feel about the open world and the intermissions and all that stuff and the online, however you feel about any of that, everyone unanimously agrees the soundtrack is great, but I don't think the soundtrack is unique enough on its own to qualify for a 2025 award season type stuff. But that's just me. And I mean, I could go over some of the other nominees. Oh, actually, there is one other thing I want to talk about. Doom: The Dark Ages is not nominated for that many categories. It's nominated for Best Action Game. And I think that might literally be it. Oh, hold on. It's also nominated for Innovation in Accessibility. And that is it. Wow. Like, it's Doom. Doom has a really good reputation. Doom 2016, Doom Eternal were both received really well. Doom: The Dark Ages, from what I've heard, it was received well as well. I haven't played it yet. I will be playing it, though, because it is on Game Pass, and I liked the previous two games, so I will be playing it. But I'm honestly very surprised that it's not nominated for more categories. Like, I'm not Game of the Year, but, like, more categories than it is. Like, really just Best Action Game? I'm surprised it's not nominated for, like, 2 or 3 other categories. It's Doom, but what do I know? Ninja Gaiden 4 is also nominated for Best Action Game. That's also in there. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is nominated for Best Action Adventure Game, which is a different category than Best Action Game. Those are two different things. Now, this game being nominated is a little fuzzy because this game came out last year. But the PS5 version came out this year. It's getting a Switch 2 version next year. And to be fair, it came out like on December 9th. Like, literally a year ago. Literally a year ago. I just now noticed that because I just now looked it up. And it's like, oh yeah, it came out this December 9th, 2024. So literally a year ago to the day. A year ago to the day. At least I'm recording this. So it's kind of in that, Metroid Prime. So maybe Metroid Prime 4 will get nominated next year. Maybe it'll get nominated next year. Not for Game of the Year, probably, but like for something. It'll probably get it might get nominated for something next year just because it can. Because when a game comes out in December, they tend to include it in the next year's Game Awards sometimes, depending on the game. This is obviously one of them. Anyways, anything else notable in here I want to point out? Oh yeah, Best Sim/Strategy Game. The Final Fantasy Tactics, like, remake/remaster. I'm not sure. Yeah, remaster is a remaster. This, again, is in that kind of gray zone. This one, I think, is not even a gray zone. I think this should not be nominated. Because it's not a new game. It should not be nominated. Same thing goes for the Capcom Fighting Collection and Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection for Best Fighting Game. Like, those are not new games. Those are collections. Like, you gotta be a new game to qualify. Like, even, again, FF7 Remake... I am personally in the camp that FF7 Remake Rebirth, like, games like that are basically new games in practice, You want to nominate those for whatever you want, that's fine. But if a game is a 1-to-1 direct remake or a remaster, it should not count. Like, for example, Persona 5 Royal, I believe, was nominated for a couple of things in 2019 or 2020, and it really shouldn't have, because it's not new. It's just an expanded version of an existing game. It's not even a remake. It's just a new version. Like, it shouldn't count. Like, that's the way I look at it personally. You have to be either a straight up new game, or you have to be a new game in all but name. Again, FF7 Remake, Rebirth, like those kind of games that are basically new games in practice, that's fine. But if you are a straight up remaster or like a 1-to-1 remake, like for example the Thousand Year Door remake from last year, that would not qualify. Not that it was nominated for anything anyway, but like if it was nominated last year, which it wasn't, then that would be wrong, because as much as I love the Thousand Year Door, it's not a new game. It's just a 1-to-1 remake of the old game. It's not even a yeah. You get what I'm trying to say. You get what I'm trying to say. Just for the heck of it, for best family game, which traditionally has been a very Nintendo-dominated category throughout the years, we do have Bonanza, but we also have Lego Party, Lego Voyagers, Mario Kart, Sonic Racing, and Split Fiction. Really, Split Fiction? I mean, Split Fiction is the game from the It Takes Two guy, I believe. It is nominated for a couple other categories, actually, and I understand why it's... Like, I would understand it being nominated for other categories. I'm just surprised it's nominated for Best Family Game. Mario Kart and Sonic Racing are also nominated for Best Sport/Racing Game, for what that's worth. Let's see, anything else? I may as well go through every little thing to see if there's any other thing I want to point out. Let's see, Best Multiplayer Game, we got Arc Raiders. I know Arc Raiders is kind of a big thing, it kind of blew up. I haven't played it myself, but I know it's kind of a big thing. We got Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 is nominated for a couple other categories as well. We have Elden Ring Night Ren, which is probably going to be... It's either going to be that or Arc Raiders. Battlefield 6 is popular, but I don't think that's big enough. There's a game called Peak. I'm guessing this is like the indie kind of representative. That's probably not going to win. Split Fiction, that's on there. And then, yeah, Elden Ring. I mean, I would say Elden Ring because it's Elden Ring, but Elden Ring didn't win last time. Right? Didn't everyone think... Like, what won in... What was that, 2022? Yeah. What won in 2022? I actually don't remember what won in 2022. But it wasn't Elden Ring. Or was it? Wait, no. Didn't they have Elden Ring? And then they had like we had like the Bill Clinton guy or whatever on stage. Wait, did it win? Oh my god. This video's an hour long. It should have ended like 15 minutes ago, but we're still going. We're almost done though, to be fair. We're almost done, I promise. Oh my god. Did it win? For some reason I want to say it did. It won several Game of the Year awards, but did it win the Game of the Year award? Like the main one? Oh yeah, Shadow of the Erdtree, that was nominated last year, and people were like, oh, that shouldn't be nominated because it's DLC, and it didn't end up winning, of course. So no, it did not win in 2022. It did not win. It was 2022, right? That's when it came out, right? Yeah, 2022. It did not win then, but just to be 100% certain, because this video is long enough, like, does it really matter if I spend a few more minutes on things? Let's rewind the clock to 2022. Let me see who won. Okay, never mind. Apparently Elden Ring did win in 2022. Okay. Yeah, because it had to have, though, because we had the whole Bill Clinton moment where the guy came on stage or whatever, and that was a whole meme. And that happened when, like, the guys from FromSoft were on stage. So, yeah, that's it. Because I couldn't remember what won. What won in 2020? Because I asked that, like, who won in 2020 again? It was The Last of Us. Okay, it was The Last of Us. What about 2019? Sekiro. Oh yeah, I forgot. Sekiro. Yeah, Ultimate. Okay, you see how I was just saying how like, oh, they're nominating the Indiana Jones game, because it came out in like December, and like if you come out in December, then you're basically nominated. You can be nominated for like the next year's Game Awards because you're like because you aren't eligible for this year's. Well, Ultimate was actually nominated for Game of the Year in 2019. Obviously, I wanted it to win. No duh. It didn't win, which I'm not surprised. I didn't think it would win, but of course I wanted it to win because it's I'm biased. But yeah, that still feels a little weird though in retrospect. The idea that it got nominated for 2019, even though it came out in 2018. Yes, it came out in December, but still. But again, that's a whole other thing. Anyways, back to the current year Game Awards that we really should be wrapping up because this has been going on way too long now. Elden Ring, Night Ren. I mean, if it wins, no one's gonna be surprised. But I think Arc Raiders is probably has a higher chance, honestly. Or actually, Split Fiction I could see. Because Split Fiction has a very unique thing going for it. It might have that. Oh yeah, Best Adaptation. I believe this is one of the newer categories. I believe this was a thing last year, to be fair. But this is one of like the newer categories. We have, of course, the Minecraft movie. No shocker there. We have the Devil May Cry series on Netflix. We have, of course, The Last of Us Season 2. Then we have Splinter Cell Death Watch, which I've never heard of before. It's, of course, based on, the Ubisoft Tom Clancy series, but the very fact that I haven't heard of it at all is probably an indication of the chances of that winning. And then Until Dawn, which the movie that's based on the game, that came out as well. Now that I do remember coming out. I don't think it was received particularly well, but I mean, who's gonna win that category? I know it's very cliche, and it's essentially it winning twice in a sense, but it's probably gonna be The Last of Us Season 2. I mean, what do you expect, right? It's The Last of Us. It's gonna win, right? Which, in a way, because it's based on The Last of Us Part 2, would also be another award for The Last of Us Part 2, in a sense, if it did win that. But yeah. Oh, and this is the most pointless award ever. I honestly don't know why they bother doing this at this point. Like, I think it's a fun category on its own, but like, there's no point in like these last couple of years. Most anticipated game: 007 First Light, Marvel's Wolverine, Resident Evil Requiem, The Witcher 4, and GTA 6. Who the hell do you think is gonna win? Well, I wonder what game is gonna win. And look, all of those other games are good, solid choices for that list. But I mean, what's even up? I know it's not an important award. They don't dedicate any time to it. It's one of the, how during the Game Awards, there are the ones that they actually do the proper ceremony for. And then there's the ones where they're like, okay, and here's best whatever, and the winner is this. And then that's it. And it's just like a little like 5-second whatever. Like, this is one of the 5-second whatevers. They don't spend any time on it, but still, you're really good. Like, what? It's GTA 6 is on the list. There's no point in even doing this category because there's no competition. It's gonna be GTA 6. It's like years ago when they had the sequel to Breath of the Wild on there before Tears of the Kingdom, before the name Tears of the Kingdom was announced and it was just the sequel. Like, they had it on there for years, and it's like, who the hell do you think is gonna win versus like all the other games? And shocker, it won like I think every time. It's like no competition, but yeah, I'm sure there's a couple other categories we could go over, but we've gone for long enough. So thank you everyone for sitting here through my rambling. This is kind of funny because I think at the beginning of the video I was like, oh, this one probably will be not as long, but who knows? This is me we're talking about, and well, yeah, this is me we're talking about. So this video is 1 hour and 8 minutes. At this exact moment. Oh man, this video is too long. But hey, I hope that you all enjoyed listening to me ramble on about all this. So yeah, I mean, honestly, the main takeaway is it's gonna be cool to see the new Tomb Raider. I am actually looking forward to seeing that. Hopefully we get something from Sony that isn't just the new Housemarque game. Like, if we got to see, actually, it'd be really cool if we got to see some new Spider-Man stuff, because obviously we know the roadmap because of the Insomniac leak. So it'd be cool if we could see some more of that, or really just any new single-player thing from Sony. Of course, it's like a big name thing. That'd be cool. Actually, we haven't talked about Microsoft at all yet. will Microsoft have something? You know what? I think there's a chance. They've had stuff there before. Not all the time, but they have had stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if we got MCC. Like, finally announced for PS5 and Switch 2. That is something that's been due for a while. That should have been announced like 6 months ago. We all know it's coming. So that'd be cool. Or also just Switch 2 versions of games in general. I know I said that we're like not going to get anything from Nintendo in this presentation, but this is not a Nintendo thing. This is not a Nintendo thing. This is a third-party thing. And Microsoft has said over and over, we're going to put stuff on the Switch 2. We're going to put stuff on the Switch 2, even though they haven't announced anything yet. Maybe now. I don't know. Maybe we could also see Halo. Because we have the new Halo and Unreal Engine 5. Oh, actually, no. Halo, the campaign remake that's coming out. We could see more of that. We could see Hi-Fi Rush 2. I don't know. The point is, no, because Hi-Fi Rush is... No, that's nothing to do with Microsoft, right? Because they sold off Tango Gameworks. Point is, if we got to see something from Microsoft... Actually, Gears of War E-Day, we're kind of due to see that game again, because they didn't show that in the Xbox event this year. It was revealed in the Xbox event last year, but we haven't seen it this year at all, despite it being, like, Gears of War, you know? Oh, actually, you want to know what I'd love to see? Forza Horizon 6, right? They announced that at Tokyo Game Show a few months ago. And it's in Japan, which is what people have been waiting for years. And of course, it's Forza Horizon, and I really like Forza Horizon, so I'd love to see that too. But yeah, just something from Microsoft would be cool. I think there's a decent chance, right? But they have skipped years before. But we have had some stuff from them in the past, most notably, of course, in 2019. They literally announced the Series X at the Game Awards. So they have no problem giving Keighley something big. So if they want to reveal something, they're going to reveal something. But we'll see. And yeah, so I'm sure I could probably go on even longer, but I think we really should wrap things up. So again, thank you all for watching, and let me know down below, what do you want to see at the Game Awards? What do you hope to see at the Game Awards? Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to lose? Let me know your thoughts down below, and of course, as usual, I will be streaming the Game Awards on December 11th, so stay tuned for that as well. And with that being said, this is Logan59XP, and I'll see you guys next time.